Just when you thought the Planet of the Apes franchise was dead and buried, seemingly out of nowhere, at least in my eyes, this new reboot comes along in 2011, Rise of the Planet of the Apes. And simply put, this is basically what Conquest of the Planet of the Apes should have been.
Was Conquest an action movie?
Conquest was not nearly as action-packed as this.
Well, this one only had action in the last 20 to 30 minutes.
Well, all around, this is just more competently made than Conquest of the Planet of the Apes.
I think it has a lot of pacing issues. That's my only problem with this movie.
Well, first of all, the movie, like I said, is a complete reboot. Although the filmmakers have said that they think they sort of view it as a prequel to the original 1968 film. So, that being said, it concerns
Caesar.
It concerns Caesar, not the Caesar from the original series, which in hindsight is kind of confusing. I mean, does this negate all of the sequels? I don't know,
Probably.
but basically what happens is it's set in the modern day. A scientist named Will Rodman, played by James Franco, is pitching this idea for a new gene therapy drug to this board of directors. It's called ALZ 112, and it's basically this drug that is supposed to repair brain function it's supposed to repair tissue and boost healthy brain function. He's pitching it as the cure to Alzheimer's, and the reason for this is that he has dedicated several years of his life to perfecting this drug, because his father, played by John Lithgow, has Alzheimer's, and it is a very severe stage of Alzheimer's, to the point where he's having these violent outbursts. But I digress. After testing it on chimps and finding one chimp that worked, said chimp, Bright Eyes, goes on a rampage because she was pregnant, and she is unfortunately killed by security. However, her baby, who Will Rodman eventually names Caesar, is taken in by him, and Caesar apparently inherited the drug from his mom. So, but here's the thing: Caesar does not have any kind of brain deficiency. So what the drug does in Caesar's case is it actually boosts healthy brain function. So he basically lives with Franco over the course of several years, with cognitive skills far exceeding that of a human being. And he soon learns that you probably know where this is going to go. He soon learns the cruelty of humans, blah blah blah, and he soon leads the revolution that would eventually pave the way for the Planet of the Apes. So, like I said, it's kind of a similar premise to Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, without necessarily having the other movies before it. Because if you remember, in Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, Caesar was the son of Cornelius and Zira, and he didn't require any kind of drug to talk. This actually gives a scientific explanation as to why the apes can talk, whereas in the other movies, all you really had to go on was, it's evolution, and it came from years of servitude on the part of the apes. But what'd you think of it? I really liked it.
It was good. I thought, well, like I said, it has a lot of pacing issues, and really that's the only problem. The action's good when it's there. The connection between Caesar and Franco is actually really
Believable.
Yeah.
And here's the thing.
They genuinely seem like family.
Well, here's the thing. I ragged on the Tim Burton Planet of the Apes for trying to get me to believe that Marky Mark had the intelligence to become an astronaut. What doubt I had that...
Well, it's the same thing for Franco.
Well, no, here's the thing. What doubt I had that Franco could be a scientist, especially one who has been working on this drug for as long as the movie says, what doubt there was completely forgotten about when I saw the very believable and heartfelt relationship that he develops with the ape, played by Andy Serkis. Motion capture by Andy Serkis, which I've always been a fan of motion capture, ever since it was introduced, or not.
How about
Lord of the Rings.
popularized? What's her with?
Well, I think this movie, along with Lord of the Rings, really opened people's eyes to the advantages of using performance capture, as they like to call it now, as really just another way of giving a performance. I mean, yeah, you could say, oh, it's just CGI. But
it's no different from dancing, or it's no different from contorting someone's body in order to entertain.
Well, here's the thing. The digital layering that they put over a person with performance capture is really just makeup. It's really just kind of a digital makeup. Because when you look at Andy Serkis as Gollum, you're still getting this physical Andy Serkis performance. They're using his movements. Same with Caesar and Kong when he played King Kong. I didn't particularly like Peter Jackson's King Kong, but honestly, a lot of people were saying that Andy Serkis should have at least been nominated for an Oscar for this movie, and they're not really far off. Again, I barely ever agree with the Oscars, so I don't really care. The Oscars, I don't really support, but Andy Serkis really is the performance that he really was the performance that was going to make this movie sink or swim. And getting an actor who is already seasoned in the art of performing with these kind of weird outfits. I mean, he's wearing the motion capture suit. He has dots all over his face. The fact that they got an actor like Andy Serkis who is seasoned in working under those conditions, I think really helped him to feel much more natural in the role of Caesar. And apparently that's what I heard from the other. That's what I heard from the other actors. Apparently Franco had no trouble believing that Andy Serkis was a chimp, just based on his mannerisms. He gives very, very simian-like mannerisms. In fact, in the entire history of this series, the three best actors who have portrayed apes, I think, are Roddy McDowall, Tim Roth, and Andy Serkis. All three of them were fantastic. Andy Serkis in particular. And again, the really genuine relationship that he has with Caesar, Franco, Will Rodman's character, is really the emotional core of the movie. And really, that was the biggest thing that was missing from, or one of the biggest things that was missing from Conquest of the Planet of the Apes, was that really believable relationship with a human.
I could see a hole in this movie. Well, okay, here's the thing. Yes, Caesar does see the cruelty of humans, but especially with his good friendship with Franco, he also sees the genuine good that humanity offers, the kindness that some people have. Wouldn't you think that he would try to at least find those people and either, if not help them, then at least avoid them while he's taking over the world?
Well, he's not trying to take over the world.
Yes, he is.
In this one, he's just trying to escape and make a home for himself and the apes. He doesn't really have any malicious intentions.
He wants revenge on the humans.
He wanted revenge on those said humans, and they got their comeuppance. Those few humans who mistreated him. After that, he and his ape friends are just kind of trying to get away. Yeah, he released the drug into. Yeah, he released the ALZ-112 into the atmosphere, and that actually. Again, I like this added scientific explanation for.
It's probably a bullshit
for why the humans are driven to near extinction. I like the fact that this movie takes the time to explain that and how that kind of ties in with how the apes are becoming smarter. Which actually leads me to a minor gripe I have, or a minor flaw that the movie has later on. But yeah, Caesar isn't really trying to take over the world. Yeah, he does release the drug into the atmosphere, and that inadvertently kills a huge chunk of the population. But Caesar's not trying to kill them. He didn't know the drug would kill all people.
No, he was trying to kill them.
No,
he killed people. Let's face it.
In self-defense.
No, he killed people.
Okay, well, he did lead an attack on the city. I will give you that, but still. Still, he was not a bad guy.
He's basically Caesar if he wasn't a douchebag and if he was an ape. That's how I see him. Well, at least at the end. I will say that that I think the father of Franco was a little bit meh.
Oh, I loved him in this movie.
I thought he was the weakest link,
He was not the weakest link.
in your opinion.
Not by a long shot. Frida Pinto was the weakest link as the girlfriend.
I liked her.
She was completely useless.
I liked her.
Lithgow actually gave a very compelling dramatic performance. I mean, I bought that he had Alzheimer's, and I got why he was there in the movie. Past that, the performances are really kind of hit or miss, because some of them are really good, and others are just kind of
Malfoy clone.
Tom Felton. I and his whole family, I didn't particularly care for. I thought they were painfully one-dimensional. They didn't really have a whole lot.
Well, they weren't exactly supposed to be three-dimensional. You know why? Because they were supposed to symbolize the complete opposite of what Franco symbolizes, which is the evil of humanity.
Well, yeah.
That is all that their purpose was. They didn't need to develop any further than that. What you want is three-dimensional characters all around. No, that's not the point. You need to focus on a couple characters that you can develop well in a 2.5-hour film, along with...
I'm not saying you have to develop Tom Felton's character.
You need development in order for them to be three-dimensional.
I'm not...
Truly.
No. Why couldn't they make him a character that I could tolerate? I just found him to be very, very annoying. And that has to do with the writing, making him just completely malicious beyond any realm of believability. I know
that was the point.
Well, it took me out of the whole experience. Whenever he was on screen, it kind of took me out of it.
Because he was a dick? Or a jerk?
Okay, I'm getting nowhere with you.
Well, you're missing the point of why they actually introduced the character.
You are missing.
They didn't introduce.
You're missing the point I'm trying to make.
They didn't introduce him to. They were supposed to try to say that he was intolerable. That's what led Caesar to break out.
Frida Pinto wasn't bad, although she was totally worthless.
The girlfriend?
Yeah.
She was
okay, but
I liked her.
She didn't really need to be there. I mean, narratively, she didn't really serve much of a purpose. I mean, she plays a vet in one scene, but after that, they just kind of keep her around for whatever reason. I don't know.
Yeah.
And performance-wise, she was just kind of bland. But those three central performances, James Franco, John Lithgow, and Andy Serkis, are really what make this movie worth watching, or one of the things that make this movie worth watching. They anchor the movie, and they do it very, very well. And probably one of my favorite scenes, one of my favorite scenes is actually something that didn't have a word of dialogue. You know how Franco uses the ALZ on his dad, and his dad is temporarily, seemingly cured of his Alzheimer's.
Yep.
And when he starts to kind of revert back to his old mental state, he kind of starts to do that while Caesar just keeps getting smarter. Well, when they're sitting at the table eating breakfast, Lithgow is kind of holding the fork backwards and trying to eat his eggs, and Caesar, without a word of dialogue, kind of gently takes his hand, takes the fork, and turns it around right side up. So really, that moment, which basically encompassed both of their arcs. I mean, Lithgow was slowly degrading mentally, and Caesar was growing mentally. Just that they were just kind of meeting at that middle point, and yeah, just a real subtle little moment that I really, really liked.
Honestly, I don't remember that moment.
Let's see. The score by Patrick Doyle is powerful. It is bombastic. It really sells the scope of this whole thing.
It was okay. I don't really remember much.
It's better than the Danny Elfman score from Tim Burton's Planet of the Apes.
No, it's not. The main theme was so memorable. I remember that.
This was better. Let's see. The visual effects,
They're good.
The effects have come far enough to where you can show these apes, and you can have them
All CG.
You can have them all CG, and I know some people might take issue with that, but really, we are at this point where we can transition from an actor giving a dramatic performance, and the actor moving like an ape, and transition to an ape actually doing these superhuman ape feats, like jumping into the air and climbing on buildings.
So
So it was all very seamless in that regard. And
So-
really, the apes in this movie move more like apes than ever before.
So pacing issues.
Well,
That
I didn't
is-
really have as big of a problem with that as you did.
I found that really distracting because most of the movie, honestly, I was finding it interesting, sure, but I was half asleep throughout the entire movie. Up basically until he saw that big gorilla in the cage. That's where it started to get actually pretty loud and intense.
Well, here's
Because the rest is basically dialogue and emotional scenes.
Well, here's the thing. As good a movie as this is, it does feel kind of fragmented.
Yeah,
in
very
its-
much so.
In
Because
that the first half of the movie essentially focuses on James Franco's character and his whole arc and how he's dealing with having Caesar in his household. And then the second half of the movie basically shifts the focus, and now Caesar is our main character, and Franco just kind of periodically pops in. So I think they could have found a better way to balance these dual protagonists.
and not only that, but like you said, it's very fragmented in the fact that the first, if this was 2 hours, if the first like hour and a half is talk, like silent moments, the slow stuff, and then the last 30 minutes,
This high-octane action flick.
yeah,
Yeah, like I said, that also ties into the whole dual protagonist thing and kind of balancing that out and who is your main character. So again,
Caesar,
I
I think, is the main character.
well, yeah, because he goes through the most visible arc, I think. But again, I think they really could have found a way to better iron out the kinks and find that balance between these two protagonists and keep the film from feeling as fragmented. And also, like I said, I had a problem with some of the really two-dimensional characters or one-dimensional characters, and just a minor flaw in the grand scheme of things. There are some lapses in logic, particularly in the way of the science that this movie portrays.
Oh, it's a good one. Science.
Well, no, I'm not talking about the concept of the ALZ-112. I'm talking about, you know, at the beginning of the movie, Franco comes to his boss, the black guy, and he basically says, you know, we've had a success with this one chimp, Bright Eyes. One success is all we need. And I said, no, that's not the way the scientific method works. I mean, you might want to keep trying with different control groups and different experimental groups. This seems like a bit of a long shot. You've had one success over presumably many failures. So, the way that they kind of skip over stuff like that.
A 1 out of 10 chance is not marketable. Okay.
Well, the way that they kind of skip over stuff like that and kind of
Yep.
like I said, some real lapses in scientific logic did kind of bother me. But aside from that, yeah, I liked the movie. I could even stomach the references to the original, some of them or most of them.
Get your hands off me, you damn dirty human.
That's not in this movie. Instead, Tom Felton says, "Take your stinking paw off me, you damn dirty ape."
Yeah.
Which I could stomach that, especially since one of the greatest lines in the movie comes, which is actually another reference to the originals.
No.
Yeah, which kind of ties into the to the story that Cornelius was telling in Escape from the Planet of the Apes, but
Which I didn't get to watch.
well, that was a great moment. It was a good, powerful moment. Let's see.
How much else, really?
Oh, Tom Felton's character was named Dodge Landon.
Isn't those the two characters that died?
Yeah, the two characters from the original.
That's hilarious. Okay, so I guess that's it. Honestly, it's a good movie, fragmented, but overall, it's a nice package emotionally and action-wise.
Yeah, it does a really good job of basically jump-starting this series and had me really excited about what's going to come next.
Oh, I can't wait for tomorrow.
Dawn of the Planet of the Apes.